Civilization encourages us to shut the door, shut the windows, shut the blinds, shut our minds from the reality of the world. The connected world is still going on out there, but we would rather let the caustic rain of civilization wash it away and supplant it with connections that have been manufactured to keep us in our place. In our disconnected lives we are made to feel safe, even though we are on the edge of catastrophe. We are made to enjoy what we do, even though we have forgotten what joy feels like. We are made to experience self-worth, even though we have become worthless. We are made to feel in control, even though we have no control at all. The system has us where it wants us. And now it can use all of us like the metaphorical batteries and cogs that signify our labor and our spending, and our naive compliance in which we live our synthetic lives, from the plastic toys we grasp as babies to the flickering, energy-sapping screens that fix our attention on the advertiser's world, from the blacktop roads we populate in countless streams of metal caskets with wheels on the way to and from our designated places of valued employment, to the offices and factories and supermarkets and call centers we spend a third of our lives operating in order to keep the machine spinning, in order that we can be given currency with which we, in our docility, reinsert into the system so it can keep growing, and taking, and killing everything it is able to reach. And when we feel weary, we take a packaged, predetermined vacation. And when we feel hungry, we eat a packaged, predetermined meal. And when we feel bored, we go to a packaged, predetermined slice of entertainment. And when we are of no more use to the system, we are retired. And only then do we, in the moments of reflection we never had time for during our urgent, productive years, think about what we could have been had the system not taken us at such an early age. Homo sapiens sapiens is a connected species. Homo sapiens civilis has had the connections ripped away from it. We have become, in effect, an entirely new subspecies, for although our genetic DNA is unchanged from pre-industrial times, our cultural DNA is unrecognizable from that of any other species on Earth. With such a massive upheaval in the way humanity behaves in its civilized state and, consequently, the way it fails to interact with the rest of life, that cultural DNA takes on a significance far beyond, say, finding a new way to extract food from plant matter, which, incidentally, is one of the key factors in the physical process of evolution. Our newly formed cultural imbalance with the rest of life could be said to have created, at least in our heads, something that is entirely separate from the pantheon of living things. Perhaps subspecies was far too modest. After all, we were proud enough to add a second sapiens to our title, simply because we wanted to feel special. And, certainly, when the system wants us to feel special, it does so. But when it wants to grind our faces into the concrete, take us lower than our sane minds can tolerate, and then gloriously pick us up again with an offering from the shelves of the great shopping mall of civilization, it will just as easily do that. Wouldn't it be so much simpler just to hug a tree? Fuck the trees. How many channels have they got? How many gigabytes can they store? How much money can you make from them? That's more like it. You see, it was easy to find common ground between the tree and the civilized mindset. All we had to do was think about money, and everything else slotted neatly into place. How much money can civilization make from a tree? It depends how many it cuts down, and it's not just the money from the wood, for that is a pittance compared to the money it could make from an absence of trees. The teeth of the chain cuts into the arboreal flesh one last time, leaving a glorious space for what do you want? A new parking lot, a retail park, a blockade of oil palms, some grazing cattle, mile after mile of soybeans, an open cast coal pit, a toxic sludge lake, a city or two. How very civilized.